girişimcilerimize tekrar teşekkür ediyorum. Şimdi yeni teknolojiler çerçevesinde Başarı Hikayeleri adlı paneli modere etmek üzere Patrick Bosteels'i sahneye davet ediyorum. Stage is yours, Patrick.
Hello, everybody. Can I have the three guys here? You can already sit. First of all, so I know that all the startups are now running to their booth, but I think it's also good that we give them some advice. I'm Patrick Bosteels. I've been living and working here for 4 years now in Turkey, as well in Istanbul as in Izmir. I'm full-time into startups, so I see a lot of startups pitching, and there's a little mistake that our friend this morning made when he was talking about this a very big project in the MENA region. He thought that we as Turkey are more advanced as a startup scene than they are in the MENA region, and I'm not really agreeing to that. So what I would like to share with you, and I hope that you also share it with the startups, is startups world is in English. It's in English. It's not in Turkish. It's not in Arabic. It's in English. We have to learn this. If you do a startup thing, it's in English. If you go outside of your country, nobody understands Turkish. I speak some Turkish. When I go to Belgium, because I'm from Belgium, nobody understands me. Nobody. So it's very important as a startup that you do these things in English. But that's the first one, because it makes your outlook go outside. The second thing is very amazing. None of these startups that we have seen here now, and we have seen 14 of them, none of them need money. That's amazing, eh? None of them need money. I didn't see any slide who said, we are looking for 1 million in our next round. So we have all very successful startups. So this means that if you don't need money, you're not a startup anymore, you are a company. Because that differentiates you from a company with a startup. A startup needs money from its investors to continue and to grow. So it's very amazing that we had here 14 examples of people who don't need money. So thank you very much. So let's go to the panel now. Can you sit here? Can you move like this?
Sure.
I'm better on my right side.
Should we move?
Yes,
I
yes.
just sat under my picture. So
but they will see you, Meelis, no problem. And they will even hear you talking, imagine. Let's start first with introducing ourselves. Let's start with Fred. Because you're on the left picture next to me, so that's why I do it like this.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me well? Okay. My name is Fred Krieger. I'm the CEO and founder of Scoro. Scoro is a business management software platform that connects data about sales, finances, and time management into one simple system. I started the company about 6 years ago. 2.5 years ago, we rebranded to Scoro and launched it globally. Currently, we have customers in almost 30 countries, and the team is getting close to 50 people.
You're from Estonia, I think.
I'm from Estonia, and currently we have offices in 3 countries, and next month opening an office in London.
Perfect, thank you. Fatih.
Yeah. Hi everybody, I'm Fatih. I have nothing to talk about Teradrill, actually. It's a new company, 3 people working hard. I don't know why I'm here.
We'll try to discover that later, no problem.
Success story here. Actually, this conference is about big data, and I was at Silicon Valley when this big data was invented. I was at Oracle working on query optimizer and data warehouses in the kernel team. Then I was at LinkedIn managing scalability problems there, re-architecting the whole site before IPO. Then I went back to, I came here, Turkey in 2013, and I formed a startup which was acquired by Komodo. It was a log management security company. And after that, we are now working on Teradrill. This is our second company.
You are from Turkey.
I'm from Turkey.
Why
and
always these Turkish people come back to Turkey? Even though they are in the San Francisco.
Yeah, mine was the other way around. So I had some family health issues, so I had to come back to Turkey. If I were not, if I didn't come back, I was gonna work on Twitter because they were going through the same IPO process, and so this I don't know, but I'm happy to be here, and also I'm an associate professor of computer science in Kurucu University, and I'm lecturing databases, big data, and cloud computing lectures.
Nice, very busy man. I saw that on your LinkedIn profile. Meelis, who are you?
Hi. I am one of the co-founders and currently head of sales at Big Data Scoring. So what we do is we help companies harness various external data sources to make smarter decisions. Whether those decisions about credit, about insurance underwriting, about targeted marketing, etc. Basically consumer behavior prediction. Mostly it applies to online client acquisition channels. So we utilize roughly 4 categories of data: behavioral data, technical data, location-based information, and also searches and queries. So we aggregate an additional layer of data for our clients to make smarter decisions. We're operating in nearly 20 countries, have about 15 employees, currently based and headquartered in London, but we operate from Indonesia to Chile and everywhere in between. And also spent probably about 5 weeks last year in Istanbul. So I also have some experience in dealing here with Turkish clients.
Nice, eh?
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
I was mostly on the eastern side, so a little bit more quiet there.
Nice, nice.
But still good.
The topic is, and thanks to Fred, I will now ask the right questions, because everybody always asks me about the emerging markets, because we are here, but it's about emerging technologies. Thank you, Fred, for bringing that up. That was a very good one, by the way. So let's talk about the emerging technologies. Now, you're all 3 in technology-based things. Now, I am not a technology guy, but I had different companies around technology, even though I'm a photographer and a cineast. But until now, even with the startups, I actually don't see new things. I just see the application of new things. Do you agree with that? Are we really doing new things, or are we implementing new technologies? Because we are talking about new. Big data is a very big hype, but is that really so new as we are talking about? I will start with my professor friend here.
Actually, so if you are talking about big data, this stuff are not new, and this has been in articles and so many things. For example, IoT is not a new thing. In 2000s, in my PhD, during my PhD, it was sensors and operating systems and for tiny devices and things like that. So in that sense, there is nothing new, and even the algorithms are very old and things like that. But what is different right now is that the open source technology and the commodity hardware allows people to try new things. For example, when we were at LinkedIn, we were a very big customer of Oracle, and we were not able to try new things. And that's how we started some of the projects. Kafka is one of them right now. They formed a company, Confluence, supporting it. So the thing is that we were stuck in the SQL area, and we cannot touch data, we cannot get data, we cannot play with the data. And now what's going on with this new trend is that the open source technology, the commodity hardware, the cloud, these things allow people, even undergraduate students, to play with it. And now we are seeing the results of that. And right now, thousands of teams playing with the data, touching it, looking at from different angles, trying to recognize the face, and things like that. And the applications are disrupting right now. Is it new? No, but it's impacting the life now.
You think the same thing, Fred, because you have been in this now for 7 years now. Do you see yourself as we have found something new, or is it more the implementation of what was already existing?
No, I guess it's definitely implementation of some existing principles. And also, as we are working with B2B customers, mostly in the professional services industry, it has happened that basically the implementation of different new technologies, be it on even like simple things like apps and stuff like that, usually takes a lot more time in the B2B sector, because even small companies are slow to respond to new technologies, etc. So the whole machine learning, big data concept mostly applies currently to really huge companies that try to make sense of it, or companies where they have enough data to go about. As we see our role currently in being the middleman, or basically bridging the gap between this situation where a lot of companies they don't have even their basic stuff in order. And as we were speaking just before the panel with Meelis, there's a lot of legacy among these companies, a lot of old systems that keep them from moving forward. So what's technologically possible isn't necessarily implementable. So.
Is that also your opportunity, because you're a rather new player in the market?
Yeah, it is, but I have a real life case where my client tells me, a big bank, a very large global tier 1 bank, tells to me that I cannot fetch my client's home address from their databases. So this is the type of situation we're facing today, and in terms of, I don't think we're even close to kind of implementing big data solutions, at least in my sector, because these big banks are sitting on such legacy systems, they can't get their heads around their database structure, and their databases are so old and so clunky. So we see ourselves as a situation for them to, at least in some context, break free of those legacy systems, because we operate in the cloud. We don't interfere with any of their core systems. But I do see, at least in the last few years, even the 3 years that we've been actively commercial, a huge leap for the large established companies in starting to pursue more efficient use of internal data, and also searching for additional data outside.
I think what you also see is we had this also in the beginning of social media. So in the beginning of, before that, Facebook kind of overruled everybody. There were like a million and a zillion brands everywhere popping up like we are the next big thing now. And I see the same thing now in big data and everything that has to do with machine learning and that kind of things. Like we see all these new things, and we actually, from the other side, you have no idea where is this going to. Like, is there going to be like 5 brands who rule the whole thing, or what do you think that will happen now? Because it cannot continue like this, I assume.
Yeah, I think so. I think right now the innovation is everywhere. So who has a laptop, who speaks and writes and reads in English, can innovate. And so I think it's going to be from all over the world. Right now we are seeing companies popping up from everywhere. If they can have this synergy and energy and the right with right decisions, I think the innovation is going to be everywhere right now, because the speed of information distribution is huge right now. And there are so many open learning systems, Coursera, YouTube, and so many things, bloggers. So like 20 years ago, it was really hard to reach information. But right now, Google it, your exception is there. Google it, your problem is there. So the amount of information we gain, or the speed that we are reaching to the information is right now huge with the internet and this ecosystem. So I think there will be a lot of companies all over the world. And
you have been in this business now for 7 years now. That's long in this business. So how do you do now? You have to renew your competition chart every 3 months now, because people are new in the field. How do you cope with that now?
Well, yes and no. I would say, well, I actually, the first time I worked with business software as an entrepreneur, it was around beginning of 2000s, and I would say nothing really has changed since that. But basically, of course, a lot of things have changed, but nothing has changed in the problems that the companies face. They still don't. They still can't fetch their address from their database, and that's a big bank, right? But like smaller companies, they have their Excel sheets. Excel sheets have been replaced with Google Sheets, and you know, clunky interfaces have been maybe replaced with nice, simple apps. But usually these apps don't support the structure of sort of the holistic data that is needed for managing the company. So the problems, I would say, so in that sense, 7 years isn't that long, actually. Also, one thought I had while listening the others speak, basically, I am sure that big data is not an answer to all questions or all problems, right? So we can't solve everything with just algorithms. And I'm a big believer of creativity, and I think a lot of success stories have mostly been fueled by creativity. And once we have these tools, are they like old school tools or these new tools in the hands of everybody? It's still at the end what matters are these tiny decisions, and these usually entrepreneurs make by their gut feeling, etc. Of course, I'm not talking about credit scoring and these kind of things, but again, I'm talking from my own standpoint, because we mainly cater for professional services businesses.
One thing, because you're now, do you consider yourself as a startup now at this moment? Or are you past that stage?
Hard
so
to
are
say.
you making
I don't know,
money?
when do you get from
when you make money and you can pay your own bills, you're not a startup anymore in my definition.
Okay, we're almost there.
We're close.
We're close, but you know, the bills keep on ramping if you're growing fast.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you know, we can't fund hiring the next 100 people.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, we are still a startup company, in that we need we need investor funds to grow and enable sort of product development.
And if you need money now today, because it's a very hype environment now, is it like easy to find money today, or do you say because of the competition and not clear for the most investors? I think don't even understand.
There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of noise out there. I mean, I think big data is such an overused word. Hope nobody gets offended, but a friend of mine said that big data is kind of like teenage sex. Everybody talks about it, but not a lot of people are actually doing it. So
I have another one. It's NATO. No action, talk only.
Right. Yeah. But there is, if you come across an investor who knows the industry, then they understand your sort of differentiation points, and we're lucky enough to have come across some good strategic investors who will most likely be funding our next rounds as well. So in that sense, we need to prove ourselves to them, and then I think we'll be fine.
Because what disturbs me in the big data thing is, for me, what makes sense is that you solve a problem.
Yeah.
And in big data, I more see like I can. So I can do something, whether that is a solution for a problem or not is not relevant. I can search something and then find something that you didn't know that you were going to find, but is that relevant, yes or no? So what do you do? Because that's what people today think, that all these things come up at that database that you have searched for something that you didn't even want.
I mean, from my perspective, it boils down to statistics, right? I mean, it's all statistical analysis applied to the data. So the data speaks for itself, and of course, causality can be an issue in some cases, but then you need experienced people in that aspect to actually evaluate critically the type of relationships and causalities that you're finding. So you can't blindly trust an algorithm, that's for sure. Yeah.
I go back to, in Turkey we have, so our R&D level in Turkey is very, very low. It's 0.7% of the GDP, and it's probably, I think that 3/4 goes to the army. So actually we don't do R&D. So you're now teaching students now, what can we do to improve that? Because this is a lack that we have. I'm specifically talking now for Turkey now.
I think most of the investments in army. So that's your question, right? So actually, the interesting point is that the root of Silicon Valley is also goes back to Second World War.
So Tel Aviv is also the same thing.
It's all investment for the army and for the weapons, for the radars. So what we have is based on those investments. It's 1950s, 1940s actually. There was not Silicon Valley. So the problem in Turkey is that most of the GDP is going there, but it's a black hole, and we cannot get out of that.
Yeah.
So it's not feeding the rest of the industry. So that's the problem. And we spent there, the people stay there, the information stay there, the technology stay there, but not. Actually, so we had a couple of chances though in the past. Aselsan is one of the biggest company in that area, and they produced a very good phone, 1999 and 1990. Sorry. So it was a very good phone, and it was back in 1997, 1998. So if it was a private company, not a military-based company, it was not run by, but it was run by some innovators or by young generations, we may catch this smartphone thing. Because we had the technology and we had everything. So,
but we didn't go further. Can you find easily people, Fred, in your company now? If you have to hire people, how difficult it is to hire people that are aware of what you're doing?
Well, hiring is always difficult, and actually in this stage of expansion where we are growing from about 50 people to about 100, I realized at some point as a CEO that the amount of time it takes, like the whole hiring process. So we actually, beginning of this year, we finally hired our HR manager, and of course it's hard. At some point, it's also dependent on the culture. The culture creates this viral, basically, expansion. Of course, in some roles you just have to headhunt, and as you might know, Estonia is really small, so we're just slightly over 1 million people. So we're hiring also internationally, and yeah, I mean, my preference and our company's preference has always been hiring young, talented people without the experience, and then train them. Yeah. Even if it takes 3 to 6 months to get them up to speed, in the long run, it's that they share the same culture. They understand it from the beginning. They don't have any, you know, sort of false conceptions or whatever you call them. But of course, this is depending on the role. But if you want to innovate, you have to have these people. I think a good example is, we have to check this, whether it's Square or Stripe, one of the payment providers. Their main investor, Vinod Khosla, once said at a keynote, they have 400 people, at least at this stage they had 400 people, and they're building a payment platform. And out of these 400 people, only 4 have had previous banking or payment experience. Yeah. So this shows that like if they would have old bankers in the startup, they would think as bankers. Yeah. But now they think as regular people, right? So in that sense, and again, as you said, at the end of the day, it's the question of what problem do we solve for the customers. It's always a combination of the technology available and the actual problem, like
and
how to combine the solution. And the more you think, the more your team thinks like the end customer, the better. Yeah.
You're working with banks, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're coming with something new. So new technologies and banks, that's kind of not matching for the previous time. Like before, every bank had its own technological team, and they developed everything in house, and that kind of. How difficult is now to persuade these people?
It's still difficult.
Yeah.
It's still difficult. One, because there's a lot of departments you have to go through. Second, there's another 500 startups trying to get their business, getting their attention. So it is a difficult process to build that relationship. And I can't stress that enough. If startups are trying to sell to banks, that it's still about relationships and trust. There's a lot of smart people out there doing a lot of good things. And banks are probably confused, or all companies are confused, big companies, on whose services to buy. So eventually, if they like you and they can speak to you and they understand you, they'll also buy your business. That aside, I see some interesting developments now within large banks. They are running a lot of these hackathons, which is a great environment for bringing in multiple startups. They might be even different teams from different backgrounds, but they have to work on a solution or problems that's defined by the bank. And this gives a great opportunity for a good startup to demonstrate that their team works and they can deliver in 48 hours. And then relationships. So I think if you can overcome those things, then you're good to go.
Then it works.
Yeah.
How am I on timing? Is somebody timing? 2 minutes? Okay, we have 2 minutes. Because I have one last question. So it is about the new companies that are working in these new technologies now. Have you a favorite today that you say, this is really advanced what these people do? So this is a company that I think they are ahead. Because for me, all we do now is we implement what we know. But is there something ahead? Do you have a company in mind, Fatih, that you say that's really a company to follow now?
Confluent is one of them. Kafka, who are giving professional support for Kafka. I know those guys in person. So I think they are disrupting right now. Are they solving a new problem? No, but they are solving the problem they are attacking right now very well. Yeah. I believe in the future they are going to be. They made static data dynamic, so that's
already impressive, actually. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I know there's an interesting company in Switzerland called 28 MSEC. They haven't come out with a product yet, but they have had 7 scientists working on it for like 4 or 5 years. So
It's a hobby.
Yeah, they have a good investor, I would say. But it's an interesting, like, basically revolutionary database concept. So
Yeah.
you should look into that.
Ah, okay, nice to hear that. Yeah. And Switzerland, imagine.
It's
Yeah.
quite expensive.
In my space or in my industry, I'll look at companies. I mean, there are established companies that are starting to get established, like Klarna or Number 26 from Germany. Klarna's from Sweden. Perhaps might be disrupting the banking sector. But probably the most interesting ones we don't know of yet.
Could be. We don't
Most
know these
likely.
things. We don't know these things.
And I know that Amazon, for instance, is investing. Of course, all the big ones, but Amazon especially is investing in machine learning a lot.
Yeah.
They have their secret big teams working.
They're always doing the same thing. You never know what they're doing, but they're doing always very advanced things.
Of course, governments as well.
Yeah.
Governments are also spending massive amounts of money
To find
in
out.
AI solutions. So.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Big applause for the team, for the panel here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Teşekkürler. Patrick ve panelistlerimize teşekkür ediyoruz. Şimdi 5 dakika sonra KOBİ'lere hizmet verebilmek için finansal veri kullanmak adlı konuşmasıyla Shan Yu'yu sahneye davet edeceğiz. Teşekkürler.